We've got our recording in progress, and we've got our waiting room opening up. So we'll give a second to welcome you all in. Thank you so much. Okay, I see that I don't know if she's joined yet, but I see that Claire Grace has joined. Claire Grace, I'm gonna be like a little stressed now because I took this wonderful idea for this video presentation from the great one that you guys did of the fall issue. So I know I loved it, and I thought, this is a chance to take one medium and share it another way. And the one you guys did was so fun. So I heavily borrowed some of your ideas from that. So, and there's Kate Goddard. I'll tell, well, Kate, when she joins, we can tell her that too. So kudos. And I hope this will be a new practice going forward. So really excited about it. So I'm gonna give just a couple more minute or so for people to get into the group. So while you're joining, go ahead and put in the chat your name, where you're from, your program, and looking for one item on your summer bucket list. All right, so one item on your site, it can be personal, it can be professional, something that you're looking forward to this summer. Oh wait, Claire Grace, you can't learn from me. I like learn from you. We'll learn from each other. So for those just joining, I was just telling Claire Grace Jones, I see Kate Goddard's on here now, that I loved the video presentation that they did of our fall issue of After School Today. And that's really what I modeled this one on. And I hope it'll be something going forward. Because I just think it's just a fun way to, I mean, there's so much great content in this magazine. We could probably not share it enough ways for everyone to learn more about it and to learn from each other. So excited to be able to borrow some great, it's imitation, the most sincerest form of flattery. So excited about that. All right. So people, does joining your name, where you're from, your organization, what's one item on your summer bucket list, can be a personal or a professional item. Personally, I'm signed up for 2 art classes this summer. I'm really excited about. So fun, and have a family beach trip, but not till the end of the summer. We don't go until the end of August, guys. So it feels definitely delayed gratification around our house. So, all right, getting on the boat, and I see some people looking to explore Maine. All right, looks like, and someone going to British Columbia, definitely looking to go to the beach, definitely some very weather, and looks like some very nice weather focused things there. So, all right, well, great. Well, thank you all for sharing. I'm gonna go ahead and get started because we do have a lot of great information to share. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Gina Warner. I'm the CEO of the National AfterSchool Association. Excited to be here with you all today. Today's a special opportunity to spotlight our spring issue of After School Today. It is the official publication of the National AfterSchool Association, but it's more than a magazine. It's really a community. It's a community learning space. It's where after-school professionals come to share real stories, big ideas, and promising practices that we think are here to shape the future of our field. This issue is especially powerful. We titled it Changemakers. It uplifts voices from around the country. You're going to hear from 3 of them today, who are reimagining what's possible in out-of-school time. And I tell you what, to say it's a confusing time in our world is an understatement, right? And it's hard to find sometimes, frankly, those silver linings when there's so much uncertainty going on. These stories, they give me so much hope. They really help me understand that we can approach our work in so many different ways. It reemphasizes the importance of partnerships in our work. And again, I just think very practical ideas that you all can take with you into your programs. So like I said, we're going to hear from 3 4 authors, 3 of the features in the magazine. If you stick with us till the end, I've got some information about how you can be a future contributor to After School Today, and then I also have some fun giveaways. So with that, I'm going to kick it off, and Jenna, I'm going to let you go first today, if that's okay with you. So Jenna Courtney is our state affiliate leader from the great state of Texas. And Jennifer, first let me say, Jenna, congratulations. I know you're going to talk about it as part of your, the time we spent together, that huge policy win, huge funding win from your Texas legislature. So kudos to you for that. That again, really makes me feel excited when we kind of don't know what's going on the federal level to really feel inspired by what's happening at the state level. But you started from a pressing problem around the country, not just in Texas, around the country, and that's youth mental health. And we all know that OST programs have a real opportunity to help in this area. So I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about this initiative you created, OST Cares, and a little bit of the funding effort and funding success that you had with this program.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Gina. And it's a pleasure to be with everybody today. I will say I am not the program director for this program. That is Jenny McClure, and she is on a very, very well-earned vacation. So I am the stand-in, and I will pass along any questions that I cannot answer to Jenny because she is just brilliant and has conquered this entire program. She started and we hit the ground running, and she's made it all happen. But like you said, Gina, I mean, we're all across the country. We're all and are all still dealing with this problem of a youth mental health crisis. And I will not belabor the point because I think we all know it very well and very deeply and see it in all of our programs. We saw the opportunity in the 2023 legislative session to take some positives from that crisis in the way of essentially saying exactly what you said. Out of school time is a great place to address these challenges. In Texas, and I think this is common elsewhere, we have a lot of things that are thrown at our teachers every single day. And it's not that they can't handle them, it's that they are asked to handle too many things all at once. And for better and for worse, we don't do that to our OST providers, at least in the state of Texas. And so it was a really great way to be kind of sharing responsibility for taking care of these kids who are all ours. In Texas, we have more than 7 million school-age kids. We are second only to California in terms of that population. And so if a crisis is big, a crisis is really big here. And so what we did was essentially say exactly what you said, Gina. We said, hey, this grounding that we have in SEL, this grounding that we have in positive youth development, that sure looks a lot like promotion and prevention in a more clinical mental health kind of vernacular. And so I don't want to over or understate exactly what we're doing, but essentially we said, we're primed and ready to go, right? We have a willing group of professionals who would love to get their arms around some more training, some more professional development to be doing the work that they're already doing and do it even better and with a clearer understanding of the mental health parts of this. And so what we were able to do in the 23 legislative session was get $2.5 million a year. It comes to the network, it comes to TXPOST, and then we administer it out actually as stipends. It's not a grant program. And so we do an ongoing training coupled with a community of practice, which I'll talk about in a little bit, for a year for participants. And so we have programs that participate and then up to 5 staff from each program that participate. They get money to go with it, which I do think is an important piece of this. But we found that legislators were really, at least in Texas, were really willing to listen to us talk about A, the fact that there was a real crisis, and B, that we needed to look some other places besides just our schools in order to start addressing it. And so we had great success with that conversation.
Yeah, and I'm glad, I mean, 2.5 million. I mean, hey, that's amazing. And I think sometimes we get very overwhelmed thinking about, I'll just be frank, like red state, blue state, who likes this, I mean, you've demonstrated that you can be successful, regardless of what might be perceived as the politics of your state in this work. And I love that, you also recognize, like you kind of had to repackage it. It's the same thing. And we know this, right? We know that this grounding, this positive youth development work, this social emotional work, that's the core of what we all do. That is prevention work. So, kudos to you for figuring out a way to make that work in your political landscape. What I loved about your project, number one, I do love that this comes with stipends and it comes with support for the professionals receiving this training and doing this work. Huge job quality. Kudos to you for that. I also love the practical resources. And one of them I'm really intrigued by that you shared in the article is this emotional backpack training. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So we are fortunate to have in Houston, Mental Health America of Greater Houston. There are affiliates elsewhere in the country. Some of you who have been around NAA for a minute might remember Dr. Jamie Freeney. I remember at least once or twice she did some great virtual conversations at the height of the pandemic with us. She's a phenomenal leader in the state of Texas and especially in the mental health space. And she leads the School of Community School of Behavioral Health. Um, and so they essentially, their entire purpose is to train on these things. And so we knew, quite frankly, we have a lot of expertise in out of school time in SEL. We have former teachers on our staff. We are not mental health professionals. And so in the same way that we went, oh, there's a lot of alignment here. We just need to kind of bridge that gap for people. We also went, we're not necessarily the people to bridge the gap. And so we have this beautiful partnership with Mental Health America, where they took their emotional backpack training, which was originally designed for school day staff. Um, and they adapted it for us for this program, specifically for out of school time professionals. And so it's a 5 module training series. So it's 90 minutes for each training, virtual trainings. And then the thing that we added to it, because we know professional development is great, but to really get it to stick, you need that community of practice. You need that implementation, trial and error. You need that group that you can come back to sort of troubleshoot together. And so that's where the communities of practice came into. And so the 5 modules, just really quickly in that EBP training, are children's mental health, trauma-informed environments, youth suicide prevention, advanced trauma-informed strategies, and then very importantly, self-care for practitioners, right? Because we know that I say this, my sister and I have this conversation a lot about putting on your own oxygen mask first, and how we as mothers aren't sure that that's the decision that we make, even though that's what we're told to do. So I will say one of the first people that gets the oxygen mask, right, needs to be us. And so I think it's really wonderful that they folded that in. And so that's really the foundation for this program that we have.
Yeah. Well, I want to kind of wrap it up because I want people to, if they haven't read the article, to go and read it, learn more about what you all are doing, visit your website. And I wondered what advice you give to other people on this call, program leaders, other network leaders, or states who are trying to support mental health programs for young people.
Yeah, I think I mean, like I said, I feel like we are a really great bulwark for this, right? We're a really great starting point for all of this. And so I think, Gina, earlier when you said people sometimes get hung up in the politics of a place, what I thought you were going to say was people get hung up in the magnitude of the youth mental health crisis that exists in this country. And so I think what we've learned, as I said, we got 7 million kids in this state. We get $2.5 million a year to do this program. That's not enough, but it's something, and it's making an incremental difference. And I think one thing that's really validating is that we're getting real-time feedback after every one of these modules about how staff feels, if it's going to be relevant. And the statistics that we're getting back are just off the charts. And so on the one hand, it's really heartbreaking that some of this is so necessary for working with young kids. On the other hand, I'm so glad that they're feeling more confident and more equipped to do this. And so I think my best advice is find something, right? You don't have to do everything. We should not expect ourselves to solve this entire problem, but making just that incremental progress, getting slightly more familiar with these things, taking bite-sized swipes at it is really the way to get something done. And I will say, as a former lobbyist, that's also true legislatively. So if the question is specific to getting policy change made, it's the same kind of thing. You just have to make incremental progress on all of this.
Yeah, and I think, as we think about what we hear, the new approach to whether it's funding or, policy level decisions, there's going to be a lot more decision making authority at the state level, at the local
Mhm.
level, and all that. So again, I think that what you have here is a great roadmap for that. I love that you're, looking at experts. The fact that the expert was in your own state's amazing too. So, making those connections as well. So thank you, Jenna, for joining us. Thank you for sharing about the program you all have started in Texas. I know it's probably got a lot of wheels turning on this call. So again, people can read more about the article in depth in our magazine. They can visit your website, and of course, reach out to us here at NAA. Happy to put you in touch with Jenna and her team there. So
Yes,
thank
please.
you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Now we're gonna move. This is the amazing thing about NAA. We're gonna move across the country. We are just on this call, we are jumping from Texas to Minnesota, and we're gonna end up in New Jersey. So I love it. And our next guests are from Ignite After School. We have Devin Hanson and Hey Blute Paw, who were talking about, I'm be honest, guys, a program I wish I'd had when I was a young professional. not knowing that, I was going to end up in the nonprofit field, or maybe having been, would have allowed me to be more deliberate and intentional about it. But I love this article. I love the work that you guys are doing. So please tell us about this leadership program that you have that's designed to help young people build real skills in nonprofit work. Where did this idea come from?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Gina.
Okay.
This idea came from a clear gap we were seeing in the youth development field. Young people weren't being meaningfully invited into leadership conversations, and we wanted to shift that dynamic. The 14 to 24 age range is a pivotal time when we as young people are exploring identities, interests, and career paths. And so by focusing on this age group, we aim to create an early exposure to nonprofit leadership while also giving them space to imagine how they might shape the future of this field. The urgency came from both what we were hearing from youth and what we were seeing in our networks, and that was a need to build a more representative, inclusive leadership pipeline now.
Yeah, I mean, again, I loved as I read about it, I'm like, gosh, I'm sure there are a lot of us in this field on this call who found ourselves in nonprofit work. Maybe it wasn't necessarily the career path that we set out. So to have had even exposure to the skills that you're giving to these young people is really such a wonderful idea. And I'm so glad you guys are doing this. It totally aligns with our interest at NAA around supporting emerging young professionals. And hey, Blue, you are one, right? You're one of those emerging, you're in this age. So we want to, commend you for your great leadership work that you're doing and in putting this together. What I really appreciate about your article is you have this wonderful plan. It was not without challenges. And so one of those challenges was with attendance. Like we know this sometimes with young people, right? They want to do everything. And so what did you learn when you hit some roadblocks or some road bumps, especially around this attendance issue? What did you learn from that, and how did it kind of change your approach?
Yeah, attendance was definitely a learning curve for us as we did launch it last year, which was our pilot year. And what we realized was that youth engagement doesn't always follow a traditional show up and stay model. Especially when you're working across such a wide age span and varying life circumstances. Some participants were juggling school, work, or caregiving responsibilities, and others were new to the program and new to this exposure overall. And some of them needed more personalized support to feel connected. And moving forward, we're building in more flexibility, offering multiple modes of participation, virtual, asynchronous, and focusing more on relationship building early in the cohort. We're also shifting the mindset from participation equals showing up to participation equals meaningful engagement.
Ah, I love that. So my understanding is going forward, you're going to be on the 14 to 18-year-old. You're going to focus on that age group, right? So, yeah, what were some of the differences that you saw between, let's say, the younger end of the scale and the older end?
Yeah, the age
Older being just
diversity
24, but the older end of the scale. Yeah.
Yeah, the age diversity brought rich perspectives, but also some real challenges. Younger participants, those closer to 14, 15, often needed more structure and sometimes just confidence to speak up, while older participants in their early 20s often came in with clear professional goals and more experience in nonprofit spaces. One thing we're considering in the future versions is creating small peer groups or mentorship pairings within the cohort so participants can support each other across age and experience. We're also thinking about tailoring content tracks by age group or interest area while still bringing everyone together for key learning moments. That way we can honor the differences while still building a sense of shared purpose.
Yeah. And I loved that you've brought some youth fellows in to help you with this work. Talk a little bit about what you see, how you see them contributing.
Yeah, one thing we always have to remind ourselves is that youth aren't just the future, they're present leaders, and our field has to catch up to that reality. Involving the youth fellows in designing the next cohort is a direct reflection of that belief. They're bringing in perspective and ideas we simply couldn't generate on our own, and they're challenging traditional hierarchies and reminding us that leadership doesn't always look like a title or a full-time job. I see the youth fellows shaping the nonprofit leadership to be more collaborative, values-driven, and connected to lived experiences. Long term, I think youth-led and intergeneral general generational leadership models will become not just innovative, but necessary for organizations that want to stay relevant and equitable.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I agree. And honestly, what you all have built and what you're doing and continuing to learn and iterate and being willing to share that with the field, we thank you for that so much. So I encourage you all to definitely check out this article in depth. I mentioned a couple of the issues that they dealt with, how they adapted. You can read more about it in the article, a little bit more about the modules and the training that they go through. And again, I'll say, I'm sure you guys are open for, for questions if other people want to do this. This was, I believe, so Jenna's project was state funded. You guys, local foundation. I wasn't familiar, so I thought maybe local foundation that had funded this. So yeah, that's great. Well, very encouraging and makes us feel very excited about the future and the preparation of leaders in our field. So thank you all.
Thank you,
All
Gina.
right. Yeah, thank you, Devin, so much. Thanks, Hey Blute. All right, now we're going to go from Minnesota all the way to East Coast to New Jersey. Happy to welcome Adam Cruz. I call you NAA super fan. Adam, I feel like you've been around here. And look at your super fans coming on camera here. I know y'all, you New Jersey people always like bring your own hype squad. I love it. You guys show up for each other. But Adam, I feel like you've been in this field. I feel like I've always known you in this field. But you didn't start in this field and you have an amazing story. And we really focused on you and your story. It's one of the features in our magazine because we want to show the very rich and diverse ways that people come to do this work. So you came from the music and media world. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what brought you into youth development?
Sure. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, NAA. Shout out to my colleague, Doreen Francis, and thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm just really grateful to be here. So, yeah, I spent quite a bit of my life running small record labels. At the time that I got introduced to the space, a few things were happening at the same time. I was working at a popular disco label in New York, and through that experience, got to work with a bunch of artists, and out of that came an opportunity to come to a middle school in Elizabeth, excuse me, a high school in Elizabeth, to basically talk about career pathways into the music business. And out of that, I started to grow this passion around wanting to discuss career pathways in general and how art and artists can be helpful in that regard. So I felt really, I sort of had this strong passion already, having had that experience. And then my wife worked at the YWCA as a program lead there, and then later on worked for NJSACC. And so I started to understand the space more and more and thought there would be a great opportunity there at some point. I continued working in the music business until I got an opportunity to start working and handling some part-time communications for NJSAC. And that sort of led me into this pathway of how I got into it, and how I grew into the role was to really apply a lot of like my creative practices. I recognized how similar my work in my creative life was to the work related to how to better the OST profession, certainly in New Jersey, how to reach more adults that are directly impacting youth and all of the wonderful programs throughout the state. So I started to recognize similarities there. So through that process of being a part-time communications person, I became the digital technology director, creating a bunch of content, a lot of webinar opportunities, learning opportunities, and then now I've been the chief operating officer for the last 2 years. And so
And
I've,
and
yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. And I feel like you were one, I remember when we all switched online, you were definitely, I think because of your background, really able to pivot in JSAC to, online trainings and online events and things like that. So they absolutely benefited from your very diverse background there. Within your article, guys, and I just realized I had a whole PowerPoint here that had pictures of these articles, but we were so busy talking. I'll get to it after you do these, but these are just great conversations. But in the article, you talk about some of the job quality work and in JSAC, so the New Jersey School Age Care Consortium. Did I get that last C right?
A
Consortium.
coalition.
Coalition. Okay, there, a lot of C. In JSAC, our state affiliate in the great state of New Jersey, wonderful partner and just one of the first early adopters in the job quality standards work. talking about your work and talking about your career progression, um, and as you talk to other potential workers and existing workers in the field, what impact have you seen from integrating job quality into the approaches to work that you all do?
I think we looked at it in two ways, right? So you look at it, how does this affect our agency work? So I think it really sparked a wonderful discussion internally about our various practices when you think about how we're hiring, what we're asking during the interview process, uh, the the quite lengthy process to get to hiring. Once a person is hired, how you properly onboard them. So I think when you talk about those four pillars in the OSG job quality standards, we gravitated right away to the two around support and opportunity. Because I think those two pieces really spoke to our a more immediate need internally. And it also sparked a great conversation about standardization, right? How do we operationalize and really lay out in a guide form or document form? How do we really describe some of these aspects of our work so that we could consider all of the various pieces within each of the pillars that are detailed within the OST job quality standards. So I think that's the internal piece. Externally, we really thought right away, okay, what can we do? We can invite you all to come and speak at our monthly gathering called After School Conversation. We can invite you all to come and participate at our annual conference, which just happened in April. We had the luck of having Heidi Ham not that far away from us in New Jersey, so she was able to join us to engage with our audience during the opening portion of our conference. So during that time, we did some polling, some guided questions using QR codes, really getting the audience engaged in the OST job quality standards work already. And so that was really helpful to get sort of real time information. I think that is part and parcel what we'll do to continue not just promoting the quality standards, but to continue to be a voice for its and championing its abilities and its successes. I think the other thing that was helpful for us, to your earlier point, is we were invited to provide recommendations. When you think about the OSG job design framework, it was helpful for us. We felt like our voice was valued, that we were invited into the discussion, and we helped by providing recommendations on some of the language that was crafted. I think about our advocating for more coaching and mentoring opportunities. I think about our pushing for career pathways for non-English speaking professionals, but because we see that as a growing community, certainly in New Jersey. So a lot of the aspects of the NAA job quality standards were really taken to heart, and we realized that there's a lot more to come, and I want to dive into more of the other two pillars in the future.
Yeah, and I think people like you in the field, working with people who've maybe taken a more traditional approach to advancement in our field, that's what gives us a richness in our field. And so, to your point, be able to have that standardization. How do we take the best of all of these talented people, all the best that they have to offer, and bring it together to support young people? I encourage you guys to read Adam's article. I think very inspiring. Good feedback about pivoting, about roadblocks and setbacks and how to overcome those. Very, as you can imagine, just hearing him now, very positive spirit he brings to that. But on that note, like you've been doing this work in OST for 10 years. What keeps you motivated?
Yeah, I love that question. So next year will be 13 years actually. So it's been a while. I think what keeps me growing in terms of the passion is seeing the effects of what we can do to streamline, create better systems so that we can be a better advocate, a better support system for all of the wonderful professionals that are engaging with our youth. I think that was the number one sort of pusher for me internally. The second was becoming a father. I'm a father of three children. By August, I'll have three teenagers, 13, 17,
Wow.
and 18 in my home. So Sarah and I are really quite interested in whatever we can do to continue pushing towards improved quality, access to quality after school and summer camp opportunities. I think our work probably in life it will be inclusive of this. I think part of my life's purpose will be what I can do to use technology, soft skills, and other leadership skills to really bring people together and systems together.
Yeah, well, that's right. When you're a direct consumer of it, I always say that I'm a professional as a working parent. I was a direct consumer. It adds to your appreciation and involvement in it. So, well, thank you so much, Adam. If any of you have any questions for Adam, he's very easy to reach. You can reach him at our New Jersey State affiliate. And again, I encourage you to read his story. And I'm gonna share this like wonderful PowerPoint that I had made just so we can. I don't know why, uh, Zoom always puts like the slideshow thing right at the top of where your bar is, though. But here's the cover of the magazine, guys. This is what Hey Blute was sharing with us about what they're doing in at Ignite. So that's a great article for you all. Here's the cover of Jenny's article, Jenna and Jenny, the work they're doing in Texas around OST mental health. Of course, there's Adam DJing, the great work that he does. Many other wonderful articles. Great story about youth leadership out of our affiliate in Vermont. An update on how a number of our states are implementing job quality standards in their work. So it's a very rich issue. And a couple of things I do want to say is also want to draw your attention. This is our spring issues where we feature our next generation of after school leaders. Those applications open up every November. So if you're on here and you think, hey, I'm an after school leader under 30 and I'm doing amazing things, or I have someone on my team, even better, who's doing great things and I want them to be recognized, I encourage you to look over those profiles, get a sense of what we're looking for, and again, to be on the lookout for those applications opening in November. And again, those individuals are honored at our annual convention. Every year they receive a free registration. They're honored on stage. That's a great opportunity. And then they become part of a larger sort of alumni cohort of these next gen leaders. If you're hearing this today and you're thinking, I have a great story going on in my program, I'm doing really cool things, then we would love for you to share those with us. Our fall issue and our spring issue, when we begin looking for authors for that, we will put that post out over LinkedIn. That's how we got just about every article in this issue. We'll put out what the theme is and encourage you to submit. It's also how we got people to review our books. And if you are interested in reviewing a book, we'll send you the book. Yeah, so all that solicitation happens on LinkedIn. So if you're not following NAA on LinkedIn, please do that. A couple more announcements I want to make about upcoming events. Right now, we are running a membership summer bundle special, some really great resources and tools you'll get for your summer program. So if you're not a member of NAA, encourage you to join and get access to that. Members already have access to it. Again, great free resources to help you run your summer program. We are planning a really fun back to school bash in August. It'll be a week long of giveaways and resource sharing. So you'll be reading more about that in all of our emails and other socials and everything there. And of course, save the date for our annual convention that's happening March 11th through 14th in Washington, D.C. at the Gaylord National Harbor. So excited to see everyone. What an important time for us to come together and really advocate on Capitol Hill with members of Congress, with our peers for the investments that we need at the federal level in after-school programs. And so last but not least, I promised some fun giveaways. So every issue of After School Today, I mentioned, we have book reviews. And what after school's reading, we solicit suggestions and we send the books to members, have them review it, and we feature these. You see Adam had one there that he recommended. So we are going to pick 3 names from people who were on this call, and we're going to reach out to you and you're going to pick which of these books you'd like, and we're going to send it to you. And it's just yours to have, to add to your personal library, to add to your professional library. So just our way of saying thank you for participating and being a part of this call. So stay tuned. 3 lucky webinar participants will receive that email inviting them to tell us which of those books that they would like. So that's it today. Again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of our NAA community. If you haven't read this issue, I encourage you to. Again, really inspiring stories. I feel like we all need all the positivity that we can get right now, and I definitely found that in this issue, and I think that you all will too. So again, thank you for joining us and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.